From those Flintstone vitamins your parents made you take as a kid, or dozens of for him or for her pills and gummies, there's so many options out there. You know, these vitamins contain vitamin C and E and D and some Bs and biotin and riboflavin and all kinds of other stuff that I guess it has potential for all of us. But here's the important question we need to ask. Are they all worth it? Welcome to a Healthier Michigan podcast. I'm your host, Chuck Gaidica, and every other week, you may know, we dive into topics that help us all lead our healthiest life, covering everything from nutrition and mental health to physical health and social media trends that impact our wellness. Today, we're joined by Dr. Angela Seabright, who's a care management physician, to break down multivitamins. Are they worth it? Should we all be taking them? And can some of them even be harmful to our health? Dr. Seabright, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks. Do I look stronger now? Because I did take my multivitamin this morning.
I can tell.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Why should we take them, though? Is it just my brain telling me it's good for me because I was trained as a kid, or is there something to it?
Could be a little bit of that, but there is something to it. So vitamins are extremely important for our overall health.
Yeah.
There are 13 essential vitamins. So I'm sure you've heard of vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamins D, E, K. And then we have 8 B vitamins, often called the B complex vitamins. So things like B9 and B12. We think of B vitamins as the energy vitamins. So multivitamins basically package all of those essential vitamins up into one daily supplement. Often they add minerals like iron and
magnesium
and
right.
calcium
Right.
and potassium and phosphorus and all of those things, and they package it up into a daily supplement. But the key word here is supplement. So it is not to replace your diet. It is not instead of food. It is to supplement your diet. So I like to think of it as the cherry on top or the garnish. The main event is still what's on your plate, which is your food and what were our food choices.
And really, to get some of those things, we can find specific foods that maybe we aren't even eating now, but we could add. Like if you're not a big spinach person, you could become one if you try it.
You could, you can take a look at your diet and see where are there deficiencies, what can I add, what can I integrate. The key is really variety. Sometimes we get stuck eating the same things all the time, and that's okay, but we really want to expand our diet choices and look for new things to try, especially the plant-based fruits and veggies full of vitamins.
So most vitamins that we would take, although there's now a trend, where people are getting infused with vitamins, but most of us just take a pill, right? We're going to take a pill or a capsule, something. How effective are they really?
Well, that's a great question because the effectiveness varies significantly.
Yeah.
If you go down any vitamin aisle at your local grocery store or drugstore, it's overwhelming. There's so many different formulations. Some vitamins are one a day, some are multiple times a day, some are gummies, some are capsules.
Right.
So it's really hard to know which vitamin to take, which one is effective. The thing about vitamins is they fall under supplements, and so they are not FDA regulated. So we really don't know what is said on the bottle, is that really true? And there are third-party testing that can be done to check to make sure that what it says on the bottle holds true.
Yeah.
But you'd be surprised at what these third-party companies find. They find that a dosage that's on the bottle doesn't add up when they do the testing. So I would really look for high-quality vitamins. And so in order to look for that, you have to look beyond the front packaging and the front label. You got to flip that bottle around and read the ingredients, read the percentages of the daily value that's on the back there. And you can always talk to your doctor as well if you have any questions.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned it's not FDA approved, because if you look at the back, it will say this is the proportion of USDA recommendations, right? So there's almost the implication that if it's 100% of what the USDA said we should have, well, it's got to be legit then, right? Because they filled it up with the right stuff, and yet you're saying somebody may not be testing to make sure the right stuff is in there.
That's right.
Yeah. So is part of this a brand choice, that we should be finding some comfort in the brand because they do test, or we've got history with them, we've known of them for a long time, and we've had them around the house,
Yeah, I do like to stick with reputable brands, but you would be surprised too that some of the reputable brands, they may take some shortcuts when it comes to making the vitamins. At the end of the day, they're pushing a product out there that consumers are paying for. And so it's a $1 billion industry. It really is. So I would really look for high quality. You have to do a little homework there. And again, you can always talk to your doctor if you have more questions.
Yeah. The other part of this, which, I'll be delicate about how to explain it, but anecdotally, years ago, I had a foot infection and I had to take antibiotics. Well, by the time I take them and they get in my stomach, and then at some point after you drink water, you have to go give it back, right? And so I've always wondered with a vitamin, I take it with water, and then later in the day I have to give back the water. Well, how much is really getting into my system is a good question. And I don't know that we know that data, but how much of it is working in me?
It varies significantly. It depends on the individual, what medical conditions they
have.
Food
that you may be eating, right?
Food that you're eating, how you're taking it, what time of the day you're taking it, what medications you're on that could interact or affect the ability of your body to absorb it, and also the formulation in the vitamins. Some vitamins, we talked about the quality of the vitamins. Some vitamins and supplements have different formulations of a certain vitamin, and so it may be more bioavailable, meaning your body's going to absorb it better.
Okay. So now we get to the, we kind of do a broad brush here, but for the average person who's having an average diet, not necessarily a fast food diet every day, but an average good diet, do we really need to supplement? Is it your view that it's just one of those things that if you do it, you do, and if you don't, you don't? How do you view this?
Well, that's the $1 billion question.
That's why we got you.
Yes. So for the average person who's healthy, eats a well-balanced diet, it's really not recommended for them to take a multivitamin.
Okay.
Now, there are certain situations where it would be recommended. Top of the list is pregnancy. There's a higher need for those nutrients. So pregnancy, a multivitamin or a specially formulated vitamin called a prenatal vitamin is recommended to support a healthy pregnancy for both mom and baby. Lactation, again, the demand is higher, so multivitamin, some women will continue with their prenatal or switch over to a multivitamin when they're breastfeeding. Any woman planning to get pregnant as well, it's recommended to take a multivitamin to get folic acid. Folic acid is a B vitamin. It's very important for the development of the baby, especially in those early weeks. So that's why it's advised to take it as early as possible. And then if you have chronic medical conditions, so people that have issues with absorption, they may have malabsorption, meaning even if they eat a great diet, they're not absorbing the nutrients.
Okay.
And so they need a little boost. And sometimes those vitamins are targeted. So if someone has a known vitamin deficiency or they're at risk for a vitamin deficiency, then rather than a multivitamin, they would be advised to just take a B12.
Something targeted.
Yes, or just take a vitamin D. And then as we age, older adults, so 65 and older, higher risk of being B12 deficient and vitamin D deficient. So as we age, it might be a good idea to take a multivitamin. Again, multivitamins don't correct deficiencies. They're more to maintain your levels. If you have a true vitamin deficiency, again, you may need a targeted vitamin that has a much higher dosage than what you would find in a multivitamin.
And that can be discovered how? So obviously you could be feeling off kilter, but let's say you're going for your physical. Does a traditional blood panel even check for?
Not
really, right?
Not really, no.
Yeah.
I mean, vitamin D is such a common deficiency that may be
especially
added on.
in Michigan, right? When the clouds come in November and they don't leave till April,
That's right. Yeah. So vitamin D, the majority of it we get from sunlight. So it's really hard to get vitamin D, even if you're eating the best diet. So that would be, often in Michigan, northern climates, we just don't get that 15 minutes of sunlight. And so we would need vitamin D supplementation, especially during the winter months. And that's often checked. But you'd have to talk to your doctor about symptoms you're having. They can also take a look at your health history and see what you may be at risk for as far as vitamin deficiencies and check those levels as well.
My wife, her late mom had osteoporosis. Well, my wife is on guard for that, so she takes a calcium supplement. So that's kind of what you're talking about. Your history could lead to you being keenly aware of the potential for something,
yes.
right? Yeah.
And with calcium, we always recommend too, that's great dietary sources to get calcium as well.
Right.
So that's something for a postmenopausal woman to keep front of mind is to take, make sure you're getting enough calcium through your diet. And then vegans too, vegetarians, vegans especially,
Yeah.
because they don't consume any animal products, they're B12 deficient. So B12 is recommended for vegans to supplement that.
So, it seems like it could be very specific. Ketogenic diet, vegan diet, if you're not getting meat, there are certain things that are in meat that you typically could get
Right.
that you're not. So vice versa. So I think that's interesting to think about what diet are you on? And,
Yep.
it's pretty easy to figure out by just going and checking it out. What could I be missing?
Right. Any restrictive diet where you're cutting out a
Yeah.
food group. And then even if you're not cutting out a food group, but you're just restricting your calories, you may not be getting enough calories and enough nutrients to support your body. So that would be a time where you may need to supplement with a multivitamin as well.
Yeah. And I know our conversation is specific more to vitamins, but the off-ramp into supplement world gets so broad. I mean, it could be turmeric or ginseng or whatever it is. So it's so interesting. The question is always come into my mind. I don't think I'm going to call my primary to say, hey, doc, I'm going to start taking ginseng. But at the same time, I wonder, can you overdose? Can you do too much vitamin and supplement taking that could be harmful?
Yeah, that's a great question because that's where looking at the label is important because you'd be surprised. Some multivitamins, they may throw in some of those herbal remedies as well.
So
and
it's
you may
more
not even
natural
know it.
or whatever they're marketing.
Right.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure you're reading the ingredients and talking with your doctor. We have certain vitamins A, D, E, and K are fat soluble, meaning they're stored in the body. They're stored in the liver and in fatty tissues, which is good because you have a reserve you can draw on, especially with vitamin D. Mm-hmm. But it can be a bad thing if you're taking too much. So if you're taking vitamin D in your multi, then you're taking a separate vitamin D, then you've got some other herbal supplement that has vitamin D, it can pile up to an unsafe level, and we can see vitamin toxicities with those vitamins that are fat soluble, meaning they're not dissolved in water, they're not going to just be lost in your urine if you take too much.
Yeah. And then there are the other particulars, you think about things like fish oils and calcium and iron, so you may get iron from a meat product. Maybe you don't like fish, but yet you want to be heart healthy. So some of these supplements sound really great to take, but do all of us need to be taking fish oil or, iron pills if we don't really think?
Yeah, you have to be careful with some of those too,
Yeah.
especially iron. Women who are menstruating, they're losing blood, so they may need to take iron supplements.
Okay.
But once you reach a certain age, or for men, too much iron can actually be harmful.
My wife and I have found a hack that we're looking at the senior quality of vitamins, right? And I took the for woman and for man, and I looked at the ingredients and I said, come over here, take a look. And I said, they're both really the same at that age, whatever that brand is that we use. So we just get one and we share it because I can get a giant one. It just works out. So I think part of this whole thing about supplements is cost. I mean, some people can go really crazy over the hill on this. And for us, we're just looking at it saying, we just want a multivitamin. So we'll share. It's okay.
Yeah, the cost is definitely something to consider. Yeah. And, looking for a high quality vitamin doesn't mean it has to be the most expensive one.
Yeah.
So again, it's just doing a little bit of homework and understanding too that some of those bottles, the labels may be different, the marketing may be different, but they're at the end of the day very, very similar.
Well, that's what we've discovered. So final thoughts on this whole idea. Multivitamins, should I be continue taking? In my case, I did take one today.
So 2 takeaways. Number 1, if you take a multivitamin or if you're thinking of taking a multivitamin, talk with your doctor.
Okay.
Because again, it could be very individualized on what vitamins you actually need based on your age, your gender, your health history, what medications you take. So talk to your doctor first. And then number 2 is put food first. So again, vitamins are there as a supplement, but they shouldn't replace our food choices.
Yeah.
Up those fruits and vegetables when you can. I know it's hard. We eat a typical Western diet, the SAD diet, standard American diet. We don't eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. We don't have the opportunity. Our diets are fast and fatty and fried, but we really need to put our effort into our plates and what we're eating because that's where we get the vitamins in their best form. Their most efficient and their most effective form is through the foods we eat. And you also get all the other good stuff like the antioxidants, the anti-inflammatory properties,
fiber, the water,
yeah, all that good stuff from the healthy foods. So food first.
Great ideas and really sound advice. And just it's so interesting over and over the years of podcasts. It's not only about balance, it's about just thinking well. What should we be doing and keeping it close to natural?
Small steps can make a huge
Yeah.
difference.
Well, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks. Dr. Angela Seabright joining us today. We want to thank her and thank you for joining us on a Healthier Michigan podcast. Hey, please give us a rating, share the podcast, leave us a comment. Let us know what you think we should talk about next. You can always subscribe and favorite us wherever you listen. We hope we gave you a tip or two today to stay healthier. Until next time, I'm Chuck Gaidica. Be well.